The mom's struggle is real. Welcome to The Mom Struggle is Real. Again, this is me, Tracy, and with my co-host, Herb.
What's going on? Been a train wreck of a week.
I know. I watched your podcast last night.
The
night before.
And the night before. And then today's episode is the letter T for train wreck.
I thought the T was for me just getting on there and saying
no.
C-ring.
C-ring. Yeah. Well, wow. Yeah, right. I think my assistant producer was, he was blushing. He was kind of.
I guess he wasn't used to that.
I don't think he knew what really. I think he does know, but well, he does now. If he didn't before, what a C-ring is.
He didn't?
I don't know. He just kind of looked at me and his face kind of got really beat red.
Oh my God, how funny is that?
He's just 21. I mean.
Oh, he is?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Well, it was the picture above that. It wasn't the little tiny one that looked like Christ in the potato. It was the one.
The Cheeto?
No, the one that looked like an onion ring that had folded over.
Oh,
on
yeah,
top.
Yeah.
That to me looked
like a C-ring. Well,
yes.
Then there was the one that looked like an ampersand. I'm like, I don't know how you see Jesus in that. It looks like a weird sexual position with two people, but I don't see Jesus in that.
I didn't see Jesus.
If you're missing what we're talking about, go over to earplugpodcast.com and check out the latest episodes of Today with DW. Yeah, it was awkward. It's been a rough week.
I don't know. I thought we all had a good time at that. Not only that, I came up with the idea that you should have a show with all the podcasters together, and I think Hank jumped on board.
We've been trying to do that for a long time. It's just hard because most of my podcasters are out of state. I mean, there's you, there's Hank, I have Seth, but then after that, it's Lewis is in Massachusetts, Tom's in Long Island, Phil is in Kentucky. So it's hard to get everybody all at once together. Now, Lewis would come up, but everybody else is spread out all over the place.
Yeah, but you can just stick all little pictures of us on the screen.
No, I know, but it would be better to have more fun if everybody was in the studio at the time. So we've been working on that since finally we get internet in the OG studio. Yay, we get to be in the studio next week.
Where's your sound effects?
Yeah,
Yay! There you go.
There we go. So after we get in there, I've always wanted to plan a grand opening. So it would be like Lewis would come up from Mass, Tom would come up, and probably a couple of the guys from GHR, the Grindhouse Radio, they're on our network. They would come up, and we would eventually all just, the table's big enough, it could be 10, 15 of us all podcasting at once, and that's something we want.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We could actually make a 2-hour one out of that.
2?
I'd say 3, but I was
probably 3, if not more. Maybe the SF can show up too, since she's been interjecting in every episode of every show that we do. So SF, if you're listening, you have to come up too. But yeah, I'm excited. We're back. We're going to be back in the studio starting next week, so we won't be here at the Better Call Sal salon.
Better Call Sal?
Yeah. Do you ever watch that show?
No.
What?
I don't even know what the heck that is.
Did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Okay. Saul Goodman, the lawyer. Remember Saul the lawyer? Well, he has his own show on AMC. It's the 3rd season called Better Call Saul. It's about him before Breaking Bad.
Oh, I didn't even know
that. And
he
worked out of a nail salon.
He did not.
Yes,
really?
He did. In the back of a nail salon. It's where his lawyer practice was. That's why I said this is my Better Call Saul studio, because I'm working in a salon.
Well, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I get you.
So do we have we obviously we talked through chat on the podcast, but we have a mommy moment.
Other than before I left, Hudson, we finally decided that he was hungry after he ate snacks all day, and then asked for spaghetti. So
nice.
What is spaghetti to everybody?
SpaghettiOs.
Spaghetti.
No, spaghetti.
Sauce.
Yeah.
Meatballs, usually sprinkle cheese. That's what I call it.
Okay.
Sprinkle cheese for
sprinkle
him.
Cheese? Okay.
Yep. So I go through that whole step of making all that stuff while I'm doing dishes. Get it over to the table. Bring him over. And then he starts just like wiggling around. He won't get up in his chair. I'm like, what's the deal? Because he was afraid to tell me, I don't want sauce. I go, that's not spaghetti. Spaghetti has sauce.
No, spaghetti is actually the noodle, though.
So now I go.
So he wants noodles and butter?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my mommy moment where I was ready to throw the spaghetti across the room because
Spaghetti's
I was really
not the
annoyed.
sauce. Spaghetti is the pasta.
I know, but the whole meal is spaghetti.
Yeah.
The spaghetti noodles. Here we
Spaghetti
go.
and
This
pasta.
is like hamburger with bun. Hot dog with bun and just bread.
It's spaghetti pasta.
It is pasta.
It is pasta. The little one likes the spaghetti and butter. That's it. I'm like, it's not for me, but
he's had it with sauce before and loved it.
Maybe he's a man. He can change his mind.
Anything that makes my life difficult. Seriously, if Daddy made it for him, it would be fine.
Oh, come on.
No, seriously.
Oh, cut it out.
Seriously, that
so
is
if
no
Dan
doubt.
made it would be, I love the sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Seriously, he would have.
Dan, you're getting a bad rap. You're going to be on next week.
Yes. Is that the 27th? Yeah, he said he would be on.
Nice.
Of course, I have to find a babysitter yet.
We're going to get the infamous Dan on the podcast. The man, the myth, the legend. The man has been talked about in every episode, but we have no idea who he is.
Yeah, right.
But I met him. Well, I've met him.
Well,
twice,
you don't
but
exist. Yes.
I know. I was at the house the other day.
Yes. You saw I exist.
And I wanted to play with HUD. I would have played with HUD. You're like, oh my God, they're so busy up there running around. I'm like, that's what kids do.
Oh my God. Well, normally they don't make any
comment?
noise.
Don't do that. There's too much glass upstairs.
They were playing baseball in my living room.
How do you know you were downstairs?
They got the ball and the bat, so they were going to play baseball in a living room.
I would have played first base with them.
Yeah, I'm sure. Outside.
Outside. Well, it just rained. So that too was wet out.
But the other house was bigger, so
right.
They used to play.
The other house was bigger. Your house now is pretty big.
But the living room itself was
gotcha.
like the whole bottom floor, and so they would do it with a big rubber ball, which drove me crazy then too. But
boys will be boys.
Yeah,
Tracy.
I know.
Well, you should have joined right in. Come on.
No.
Women play baseball too, you know.
I'm not a big fan of any kind of sports in the house. Believe me, hockey's usually played in the house, baseball, basketball, all those things now are relegated to the basement.
Where we were.
Yeah, which is a little safer.
Yeah. Well, it's just a bunch of couches, except for the computer.
Computer and 90 printers. Yeah.
Yeah. What's up with all the printers? I walk in there. It's like, what do you have a print factory going on there. There's like 4 printers in there.
There's 4 huge printers right
they're
next
like
to me.
Huge.
They're Dan's for work, and then the plotters in the other room, which is like half the size of the office.
Because for the architecture stuff.
Yeah, the engineer stuff.
Engineer stuff. Right.
Yep.
Oh boy.
So all week we have been discussing whether these kids go back to school.
That's a huge topic. I mean, if you're listening out in New York State, I'm sure your state might be different than us, but for us, it's been pretty hectic, pretty difficult because the schools had to get the requirements in, I believe, August 5th or 7th. Something like that. For their rundown. And now Cuomo is coming back and saying, well, it could be bad for us to open schools. It couldn't be bad. Glens Falls School District is given 5 options, different variations of their.
Really? How many options can you have?
The one option is go every day.
Right.
Then there's like an every other day option, or 3 days a week, or 4 days a week. Then there's when you go home, you can also homeschool. Mm-hmm. On the off days, or strictly homeschool, or no school. They gave no school as an option.
How do you do that as an option?
I would assume that's probably the homeschooling part, which I know a few people are considering to doing the homeschooling, but I would assume that it would be easier because the Glens Falls School District is giving everybody a Chromebook. Right. So parents who were thinking they were going to strictly homeschool without any materials, now they have the Chromebook, so maybe they'll do.
But what do they do if they don't have Wi-Fi? I know that kids last year when they were doing this had to get in cars and go to hot spots and sit there and do homework out in parking lots at night. Which
I'm sure there's probably some. When the little one was done with the schooling, when they were still with me, Jackson Heights sent a huge packet. Mm-hmm. And they didn't get a Chromebook. They didn't even do any online stuff right away. But a huge pack. It was math, art, all that kind of stuff. And they had assignments to do.
Right.
I would assume they would come up with something for somebody who doesn't have Wi-Fi.
Well, I know at the beginning of that they had passed some sort of thing that Spectrum would be giving out. This was back then.
Free
this
internet?
is not, free internet to people that didn't have it. But
probably who had kids. I would assume because
I would assume. Yeah. I mean, who else
Hey,
would just have free internet?
I have a kid. No, I don't.
Your cat. Your cat watch TV.
Gus can't watch TV.
Yeah, right?
He's 14. Well, no, he's really 5, but he's 14.
He's 14.
Yeah, I've talked to a few people, and I know the little one might not go back, at least for the first month. She wants to see how it pans out, what happens, what's going to happen as far as if their cases spike, whatnot. And they'll homeschool her, I would assume. Most people I've heard are going to let them go back. And it's fine. It's your decision. I mean, I'm not judging anybody, but a lot of the people are like, no. It's almost like, get out of my hair. You've had an extended summer vacation. Just go back to school.
That's kind of where I have seen that fall. And Hudson himself doesn't technically have to go back, but this is a pretty important year for him as far as preschool because it's the year before kindergarten.
Preschool, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So literally, I have been on the fence about this every day. One day it's yes, one day it's no, one day it's yes, one day it's no. Plus, everybody he went to school with last year, I'd say probably half of them are not going back. So I'm trying to figure out who technically he's having class with this year because he's supposedly going to go. I had made the decision he's going to sign up, or at least he's going to go. He was signed up since last year. They have a 4-day class and they have a 5-day class. He signed up for the 4, and I had told them that fine, I was going to send him, but it was going to be at my discretion. And they're like, well, you would have to pay for the whole thing, which is not a problem. We're going to pay for the whole thing. And then if I wanted to only send him 1 day that week, I would send him 1 day or 2, or basically however I felt about it. If I judged how many kids were sick or any of these, however, what was going on around us in town and all those other things. So
now, do you get a credit if you don't?
If I want to just drop them out, then I would get a credit back.
Oh, you have to drop them out completely.
Yeah,
you can't just if you don't want 1 day or 2 days instead
nope.
of gotcha.
That was my choice. Was either send them and
I bet you that's difficult for them. I mean, it kind of sucks you're not getting credit, but again, that's got to suck for them trying to maintain. All right, this student here or this kid here was only here 3 days this week, but then he went a full week. Then he was one. That's got to be hard as hell to try.
It's going to be hard for them, but that was my concern. Is like last year they would have projects that would go on for 2 or 3 days, so.
Right. Oh, so if he missed a project, the second day.
Right. So they said this year they're going to make sure everything is day by day. Nice. So
that's got to be tough.
That project will be just that day for kids that don't, I'm not the only one that's going to play it out like this.
No, I'm sure.
So this way it was easier for them to be able to open. One day they may have 6 kids in class, one day they may have 10, another day they have 12. It's going to be tough, but at least they're getting some socialization. This is how I thought about it, is at least they're getting some socialization, and we have been together a lot, so we need to separate for a little bit.
Mommy needs her time.
And it's not that I'm risking his health to do that. I'm also trying to pan it out both ways. That he is now, I've lightened the reins a little bit, that he's hung out with 2 people since the whole summer, and those 2 people I know exactly what they're doing. Right. And I feel pretty safe with them. And seeing the way he's acting with his friends, I see that he actually needs that instead of just older people around him all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to have their protocols that we have to follow. Not all that we like, but,
do they have to wear masks all the time?
They're going to have to wear masks. They'll have...
except for lunch or whatever, like snack time?
Yeah, they'll have little tiny breaks when they're by themselves for like 5 minutes or something. They can take them off without having to mask on. But preschool for him is only like 2 hours. So it's not like bad. Being in school for 6-7 hours.
So you drop them off, you get 2 hours of free time, and then...
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, can you keep them 3 today?
Yeah. But,
And that's got to be tough for the students. I know that was in question, too, where, parents were complaining that my student's not going to wear a mask all day long because they're there's the pros and cons about wearing masks. We could go around and around on a whole episode of the pros and masks, or the pros and cons. And, I don't stand on one side or the other. I kind of see both sides. I'm like, yeah, that's got to suck. I mean, I know wearing masks when I go shopping, it bothers me. I can't imagine, people in the restaurant business wearing them for an 8-hour shift. I know that gets very bothersome. So people going back to school, a full day of school, that's got to be tough. And it's got to be tough for the teachers, too.
Well, how are you going to tell a 4-year-old they have to keep that thing on all day or talk to their friends? A lot of four-year-olds conversation is based on emotion and the way other people's faces
look. And they're
look.
very quiet. You put that mask on. You know as well as I do, you can barely understand people with a mask on. And we're talking normal like this. 4 or 5-year-olds, they're pretty quiet, you know. No, that's not the whisper. That doesn't go. But they're very quiet about that. So having that mask on, that's got to be difficult. And who's to say, I can't hear you, Hud, and he pulls his mask down. I mean, hopefully he doesn't get in trouble. I mean, obviously they say, Hud, put your mask back on. But that's going to be tough, I think.
Well, and how are you going to tell them not to touch each other? Or don't touch the same thing they touch? I mean, it's just going to be so difficult.
Well, how's playtime going to be? You all going to be wearing gloves when you're doing Legos? I mean, it's going to be weird. I mean, did they have protocols in there where they have to be 6 feet apart in desks?
They don't have the room to be 6 feet apart. Right. I know that they're putting them all into a bigger room because there's 12 kids, so they're putting them in a bigger room, so there is more space. But I know personally he's not going to learn from me at home. Right, I mean, we might start out a full week with a little bit of structured time every day where we sit down and do something, but he's just not going to do it for me.
Right.
And I'd like to think he would, but he's not. I have to be realistic on that one. So
so homeschooling would not be anything for you. He just wouldn't do it.
He just wouldn't do it.
Right.
I've tried over the summer, and he just wouldn't do it. And, you know,
I'm going outside to play in my castle.
Oh, yeah. He's just not going to listen. Not going to listen at all. And I just dropped him off at his grandmother's today, and she begged me. He was over there for 2 hours, and she begged me not to send him back to school. I'm like, well, we're just going to see how this works. I mean, there's no definite. He doesn't have to stay.
Hey, Grandma, you want to take him 2 hours every day?
She probably would. Yeah.
Now, have other parents have said that your friends that
they
they're
not going back.
Okay.
The two that he hangs out with they're going back. One of them, that mom, her husband is in the medical field, so he's saying that there's not a lot of cases right now, and if there are, that they can be traced back to where they came from, and they're not like general cases that are just like random out there. They're not sure where they came from. And then the other one is sending her son back also too, because she thinks that he needs the socialization and the schooling.
Well, that's an important part. I mean, especially growing up. I know my half sister, when she was born, she didn't have. We lived on West Mountain, so we didn't have kids around when she was younger. So it was just me and adults that were there, and it definitely shows the difference. Not that she's a bad girl now or anything, but you can tell the difference from somebody who hangs out with adults all the time that doesn't hang out with kids their age. Some are pro and some are con, but there was no socialization going on, and obviously until school time, and I don't think she even did preschool. I think at that time it was still just kindergarten. So from the time she was born,
I didn't even know you had a half sister.
Yeah. Most people don't.
Well, I guess they all know now.
Well, yeah, most people don't. Yeah, we don't talk much. I'm not because it's a bad thing. We just don't talk much.
Right.
She's 16 years younger than me.
Really, it's kind of like Hudson and his older brother are 11.
Mom was trying to reclaim her youth, or something happened. She probably should have used the C ring. Anyway.
Well, she was just trying to use her Sicilian again.
You get another Sicilian. Oh, Jesus. The callbacks. So she hung out. I was her. I mean, we were 16 years apart, so I was 16, 17 when she was born. So I'm not even a young kid, and I was the one that hung out with her the most.
But did you enjoy it? Because I know.
I did. Yeah, I mean, at 16, no. I mean, for the first couple of years, no. I'm like dealing with a 1-year-old. I don't give a shit about that crap. No, But when she became 3, 4, and 5, we hung out quite a bit. Even though I'm at that point, I'm in my 20s.
Yeah.
But I was pretty much her
babysitter.
Yeah, kind of. And yeah, Mom was reclaiming in youth, obviously, after that, because she got another divorce. Chuck it up, Mom. So yeah, I was hanging out with her a lot more, and there was no kids on the mountain really for us. And then we moved down off the mountain, and still we were in a residential area, but before going to school, she had no friends, so it was just me and her all the time. I mean, literally, she would hang out in my room all day long with me, or if I wasn't working or whatnot. So, back then, what am I thinking about? We should do kid things. You should be doing some math, or we should be doing some more. I'm just like, here, we want to watch TV. We're gonna do this and do that, and that's what it was.
But that's what I remember growing up too. This whole having to play with your kids all the time, that didn't exist then. You know, you just didn't do it.
My parents never played with me.
No, me either.
I was out either go outside with your friends or just go outside,
Yeah.
get out of the house.
There was none of that.
And it's funny because when the little one was at the house, it was always playtime. I mean, when we were there, she wanted to play, and that's what we did. And we played all the time. I mean, there was nobody, because they had just moved, so there was no friends. She didn't have friends where she lived before because it was up north, so there was hardly any people there. So she was hanging out with adults anyway almost her entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So when they moved in, I was like, I mean, I'll play My Little Pony with you. I'll play. I mean, I'm a huge kid anyway, so it was all right. It worked out. But then it's like every day I'm like, Bon.
You know, does it not get mind numbing after a while?
It does for a little bit, but at the same time I'm like, well, I mean, yes, I played with myself, and I shouldn't say it like that.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. I played by myself. I played by myself for years, just when we lived on the mountain when I was younger, and it caused me to be creative and do things that I would have probably not normally have done. But with Bonnie she will go off on her own, but a lot of times I'm like, yeah, we'll paint, we'll do this. Her mother would do the same thing and interact. So yeah, nowadays, well, I think too nowadays kids have a lot of friends too. I mean, I had a ton of friends when I was young. When I would go see my dad, down on South Street in Glens Falls, near Haviland's Cove area down there. So there's kids all over the place. I mean, it's different than it is now. I mean, my parents didn't care. So if I left the house at 7, I made it back home for lunch, made it back home for dinner, and I made it back home from dusk. They don't give a crap what I did. I mean, it's
but
safe
that's different now.
It's safe for that. It was safe for that.
It's not as safe anymore. Nowhere near as safe.
No.
You don't even want them at the end of the driveway out of visual sight of you
Well, we were just talking about that too, and as we go on our first tangent of the evening, it was Halloween. My parent, I think, 5, 6, 7. I think by the time I was 8 or 9, I was allowed to go with my friends. Or if one parent would go and there's like 6 of us and go out. We didn't start trick-or-treating until 8 o'clock at night. Trick-or-treating stops at 7 o'clock now.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to go out until midnight. Literally, there was Halloweens that if it was warm out, we're trick-or-treating until midnight. Now, if you're out past 8, people are looking in their windows. They're like, what are you doing out at 8 o'clock at night? No, our doors are locked. The lights are off. Go home. And it's just not as fun. It's not safe.
No, it's not. Well, not only that, there's a million kids out. You can't afford to keep doing it.
There was more kids out then. I think there was more kids out then than there is now.
Obviously, you haven't lived over one of those neighborhoods by the school.
Oh my God! I lived over by Haviland's Cove. You do down 1st Street, 2nd Street, 3rd Street. Oh my God! It was like a massive mob of kids.
We didn't even live in those neighborhoods by the school. The Dan's kids, and we would take them over there. And literally, that place is like crazy for hours.
Really?
And the price of candy nowadays, you got to be kidding me. No, I don't buy. I believe the fact that they just shut the lights off because they can't afford the $90 in candy after a while.
Well, I think they just don't want to be bothered anymore. I mean, we went out last year over by Jackson Heights, and it was pretty busy over in that area. So that was pretty busy, and everybody was pretty good about giving out candy or whatever. And there's that old lady and giving out nickels. Like, really?
Who gives out nickels?
My grandmother used to do that too.
Well, I talked about in your podcast. Do you remember the popcorn balls?
Yeah, those are disgusting.
I used to.
That's worse than a bag of chips. Oh, that's right, because Seth's parents gives bags of chips. Who gives bags of chips on Halloween? Just they live next to my grandmother who gives nickels and quarters.
Now we used to put out a teal colored pumpkin. You put that out because it's for, I can't remember what. It's for something that they can't have regular candy. So yes, we would. I don't remember what it is.
Sugar-free candy?
No. But anyways, we would give out bags of chips for those or pretzels or stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But that was not the primary kind of treat.
It's not a treat.
By no means.
It's what I get in my lunchbox. I don't need to get that at the end of the day. I don't get Snickers in my lunchbox.
Oh, and then we all eat, and Dan only insists on buying the king size.
Yes, Dan. Awesome. Kudos to you, because when you get those stupid things that you can fit in your pocket, these little not even a 2-biter, that's cheap. You gotta have
candy is so expensive now.
It's once a year.
I know, but literally we're buying $200 in candy bars every year. It's ridiculous.
And how much of that $200 do you and Dan eat?
He's not a candy person, thank God.
You, on the other hand.
Me, on the other hand, can
so 100 of it goes to
I can mow
Tracy.
quite a bit.
$100 of it goes to Tracy.
Nah, I'm smart. I only buy it a couple days right before, because otherwise it will. I usually use a bag of Reese's peanut butter cups.
Do you go back at the day after when it's 50% off?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
You buy that much candy, you don't have to worry about it then.
The last neighborhood we were in, we might have seen 10.
Now,
10
when
people.
you were a kid, did you go to the Ritchie neighborhood when you were a kid?
I was out in a small farm town. There really wasn't a Ritchie neighborhood out
That's
there.
what we would do.
Yeah.
My parents would drive me over to the Ritchie section and be like, "All right, go," and wait at the end of the street, and we go to the next Ritchie section. Now, I sound like we're like vagabonds, but we're not. I'm not. But I'm not. Trust me. But we lived in a shack in a van down by the river. I'm like, yes, we get to eat once a year. It's Halloween. We're going to the rich
you're all
people's
eating
houses.
crap. Oh my God.
But we would do 2 or 3 stops to the Ritchie sections.
I remember having to take all my candy and lay it out on the floor to make sure there wasn't. That's when razor blades and pins were becoming popular in the candy.
We never had to do that.
You never had to do that?
No, I do remember that we would get our pillowcase and then throw it all on the floor and pick out, Dad, you can have that because it's crap. Mom, you can have that. That's crap. I'm taking this. I'm keeping this or whatever, and sorting it out. And then my parents would just resort it and still take the good shit.
I watched the kids make trades.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I'll trade this for this and that for that.
One year, and we got baseball cards from one of the people in the neighborhood. I should have kept them because there was a couple rookie cards that could have been worth some money. Now, we're talking in the 70s, so I could have made some money instead. I put
You're thinking, what the hell did I get this thing for?
Yeah,
I can just buy these in any kind of crack your dad's butt.
Yeah, and I get a piece of bubble gum anyway. What's the difference?
Yeah.
But I should have kept them. But instead, I put them in the spokes of my bicycle. Yes, I'm that old.
Yeah.
I am that old.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yes. But yeah, things have changed. I mean, obviously, especially now getting back to the school thing. Interaction is huge, and it's got to be. Like, I never did preschool, so what is preschool? I mean, what do they teach them? I mean, obviously, when you get to kindergarten, I'm doing finger painting and 1+1, but what's...
Preschool is, by then, they've made sure they know all their colors, all their shapes. They can count
Basic
to
counting.
10 or
Right.
20. How you spell your own name, recognizing this basically what they teach you in kindergarten is taught in preschool, because now they just speed through everything in every class. So
Gotcha.
all this really does is give them a jump start.
Kinda
Being
gets
ready
them
to
going.
go in
Plus,
there.
they don't have to go every day. If there's an issue, they can actually leave. Where in kindergarten, that's kind of a little bit harder than pulling your kid out every other day. Right.
And then, technically you weren't allowed to ever do that. Now you can just say like, F it, they're not going to school, which is the strangest thing I've ever heard in my life. But
why?
Because you would have truant officers coming out looking for you if you didn't go to school.
Right.
Now you have the option to just keep them home. And
Right.
who's going to know who's doing whose homework? Who's going to know who's doing what? Nobody's going to enforce anything. What if the parent's not smart enough to actually teach the kid either?
Well, that's up to the parent. The parent can say they can keep them home if they want. I mean, that's their decision.
True. But what if you want to keep them home for health reasons and you just aren't able to teach them trigonometry?
What? Trigonometry? Yeah, no, I'm not. Well, how about the regular math now? This core math.
Oh, that stupid core math
1
is
plus
ridiculous.
1 equals 2, but now you got to do 15
Bubbles.
steps to do this,
Yeah.
where it's like, no, 1 plus 1 is 2. No, it's not. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, I know. Like when you see right now on Facebook, you see these little math problems, and then you get them wrong we were taught to go from left to right.
Right.
That's it. Now they have to do either plus or minus before this and that before that. But it doesn't matter what order
it really
it's
is
in.
1 plus 1 is 2.
I know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just, and it makes you feel stupid. Seriously, just go back and do it the way we used to. You just memorize it. It doesn't have to be 10 bubbles, subtract 2
Right.
bubbles, and then add another bubble, and then do.
And what happens when you eat that one red apple out of the bubbles?
Oh my gosh, I know, right? I can't stand Common Core math. As far as I was concerned, I felt like that dumbed it down to everything.
Right.
I mean, there was no
think
point.
the basic what they're saying is it's getting them to solve problems instead of just saying 1 plus 1 is 2. They're getting them to think and try to solve a problem. I guess in the real world, odds are I don't think I've used any of the math really that I
Really?
used in high school.
Are you going to stand in Walmart and solve a problem?
No, but I'm saying
when the common person can't stand at a cash register and it's $10.99 that I just purchased.
I'm not just talking about yes. I'm not just talking about math. I'm just saying it gets their brain thinking to solve problems or work things out instead of just not thinking.
But you should be able to do that all in your head, and I just don't get it. It drives me crazy when I'm standing. I'm telling you, in Walmart, and like I said, it's $10.99, and I hand them $11, and they have to break out a calculator to figure out they have to give me back a penny. It gave me a break.
Well, you gave them two. You didn't give them enough because there's tax.
It was $10.99, and the bill was $10.99, and I gave them $11. But
that's 99 is 100 is one.
But it would have been $11.76, by the way.
Yes.
At 7% sales tax. They can't figure out what 25% off anything is in their head. They
maybe
can't
that's why
stuff.
Maybe that's why they decided to do the core, because it's forcing them to think.
I don't think so.
I don't like it. I think it's
It was
ridiculous.
supposed to be that it made it so universally countrywide everybody was taught the same way.
Yeah, because we're so ahead of the game in the education world anyway. So okay, so we're gonna start something, and then everybody else is like, "Oh, we've already been doing that for 10 years. Where have you been?"
I know, but we've already been doing this for how many years, and now all the parents are idiots.
Oh, totally.
Because we help.
I've seen some of the homework. I'm like, in first grade alone, I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Oh yeah, and if we try to help them with it, and they get the answer right, but how they came to the answer,
they have to tell you how they got to the answer.
And if they didn't get the whole problem solving correct till they got to the answer, they get a point. Take it off.
Oh, I know.
That's a bunch of crap.
Can we just go back to finger painting?
Yeah. Seriously.
And snack time. Nap time. Did they get nap time?
I think they do in kindergarten.
Yeah. Oh, well, preschool's only 2 hours anyway.
Yeah, so no, they don't get it.
Is there longer preschool?
I guess if it was like a daycare type preschool,
Gotcha.
But this isn't a daycare type preschool.
Morning or afternoon? Are you bringing him in?
Late morning.
Late morning. Oh, that's not bad then. So he'll still get up early.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really a morning kid, so he needs a little bit of time to
get ready.
Yeah, and then if I try to scoot him along any quicker, he just purposely goes slower just to annoy me.
Oh, come on.
It is God's honest truth.
I can't see
Why
that.
is it always a guy saying that about...
I can't see that. I met him the other day. I don't think he'd ever do that.
Holy shit.
He was such a good boy when I was there.
Because he didn't even speak at that point.
I know. What's up with... He's really shy.
He's shy when it's somebody new. But he'll drag... If you notice, he starts dragging things out in front of you to show you, but not speak.
Yeah, I know. What the bunny.
His bunny.
Yeah.
I
asked him 5 times what his name was, and he just looks at you.
Like I'm. Yeah.
What is it? But he did walk me out to the castle.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Because that's something he's familiar with.
He didn't say anything.
No.
But I kind of knew what he was doing. I'm like, all right, we'll walk outside. We're gonna walk outside, and he did one of those Vanna White. Look. Just puts his hand out and like, look. Didn't say a word. That. He's just, here it is.
Mount Hudson.
Yeah, I'm like Fort Hudson. I was like, okay, this is great. And he's like, okay.
That is. Yep.
But I could hear him upstairs.
Oh, he's crazy.
Because you were saying he's getting his word quote in.
Holy shnikes. Yeah, but then all of a sudden he sees somebody he doesn't know and it's...
Well, he saw me once before.
I know, but
I know. He's funny. He was good though. Hey, like I said, I'd come over anytime and play. You and Dan need a break. I'll go out in Fort Hudson. I'll be out there all day.
Please do.
I'll be out there all day.
I'm at Fort Hudson every day. Every day.
It's got 2 slides. It's awesome.
It's got 3 slides.
Oh, I didn't see the third one. Oh man,
it's the twirly one, like at the Great Escape. There's 2
Where's
big
that?
ones.
Is it in the front?
It's on the side.
Oh, it's on the side. I don't think I saw that. I didn't see it, but I saw the 2 other slides.
Yeah.
Yes, the little things amuse me. I'd do it. I'd be out there all day. I'd be like, I'm sleeping out here tonight. Don't worry about it. I'm sleeping over. I'm going to sleep out in the Fort Hudson. The thing's huge. Plus his 2 cars. I'm too big for the cars, though, so I can't.
I don't know. He drives me around in the Jeep.
How the hell does that happen?
So he drives, and then I sit on the other side with my legs hanging over on the roof.
No way. You're taller than me. How are you going to get in there?
I just stick my butt on the seat and then put my legs,
God.
my knees break at the roof and my legs go over the top.
Oh my God, that's too funny.
And he drives like a crazy person. So everybody thinks it's funny across the street when they see him. He tries to pretend like he's going to run into a tree. It scares me and then stops and laughs and then backs up.
It doesn't go fast enough to scare.
Oh, yeah, he does. That thing
it really?
goes like 10 miles an hour.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to have to come over and try that too then.
Yeah, I know.
We're just going to have a full day. Getting back to the school. What about the older kids? What are you guys gonna do? Have they? Are they?
Well, one switched college because
Okay.
she was going to go to Florida, and then
Oh yeah, that's not.
went to a completely
Yeah.
different state because it was a hotbed. The other one is back in Albany, and the other one's going to do for high school half on, half off.
What's that mean?
Half in school, half remote.
Oh, so like 3 days on and 4 days. Well,
I'm
so-
not exactly sure how they're going to break that down,
Was it
but
Monday, Wednesdays? I think it was Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for what, depending on the school district, is you go to school Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Mhm.
You have Tuesday, Thursdays off, and then you can remote school on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
they break everything down to like A through D days.
Oh, gotcha.
So they probably
your last
well,
name. I got you.
Yeah, so they'll
they're gonna-
probably
they're gonna pod
rotate
them together. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
they'll rotate it based on one week it may be 3 days, next week it may be 2.
Gotcha.
I don't really know,
Shift-
honestly.
Well, they'll teach them shift work.
Yeah, right?
3 days on, 4
But
days
if you
off.
saw that other school down south that was literally open 3 days and is now shut down, and then the Boston Spa school here, you didn't see that one? Boston Spa already decided they were going to open up in October instead. They had changed their plan and decided to open in October.
In October, yeah.
And one of their teachers that was in there trying to get ready for school tested
Now?
positive.
Now?
Yeah, just tested positive.
Oh, boy.
So now they had to get a hold of everybody that was already in the school for that too.
I don't think it's going to be. It's unavoidable.
It's going to be a shit show. Let's be honest.
I mean, even with the policy and procedures, like I said, I mean, I even said this before that there's no way that you can go into school, whether it's 3 days, 4 days, full time, that nobody's not going to get this. It's going to happen, and you're going into flu season. So now you're mistaking flu symptoms for COVID. Now that's going to cause people to be a little bit.
Well, and that's the other thing is now they need to do simultaneous testing. They need to do both at the same time, first of all. And then what are you going to do? If you think you have the flu, you can't go to the doctor's office now either because what if it's COVID?
Well, one of the districts I was seeing, I don't know if it's near us, is making it mandatory that every student has to have a flu shot. Now, that good or bad, I know some
how are
people
they gonna
don't like
do that? What-
vaccinations and shots.
But they
so-
never have all of them in stock. They have
Yeah.
to scatter it. It took 3 months to get enough
Right.
last year to get enough.
And then most people that get a flu shot get the flu.
I know.
And so-
personally, I don't get the flu shot.
I don't either. I think I've gotten it 3 times throughout my entire life when I was young or whatever. But some people will get a mild case of the flu. Now, oh my God, somebody's going to think you got COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be tough. I don't think that schools shouldn't open. I don't think they should stay closed. I think, they should give you the options, but you're going to get it sooner or later. It's like, I guess what I'm saying is whether you do it this year or next year, one way or another, everybody's going to have this. Everybody's going to end up getting this one way or another. And if we don't get through it now, it's just going to prolong the situation. We keep closing things down and keep ourselves isolated. I just think it's going to
I think you're talking about herd immunity. Is that what you want?
What's that?
You want herd immunity? Is that what
What do
you're
you mean?
thinking? Herd immunity is when everybody needs to get it to build up an immunity to not get it again.
Yes,
So
because even most of the experts, and I use the word experts loosely, just because you have a PhD doesn't mean you're an expert. But they've said that everybody's going to get it eventually. Everybody's had the flu. I can't say that I've never met one person your entire life. Bullshit. You cannot honestly say that.
I have
Never.
never had the flu.
How can you prove that? How do you know?
I've never had the flu.
You've never had a bad cold, a serious cold?
No, I usually have stuff that goes into bronchitis, but I've never, ever, ever had the flu.
I don't believe you.
Swear to God. Now I have to knock on something.
You can knock on whatever you want.
No, I have never
I am
had
not
the
saying I
flu.
ever met somebody that never had the flu. I'm not believing this, but okay. So you're one of out of how many people that have never had
Probably,
the flu?
but very few.
Very few. So this is going to be the same thing. I think it's going to be around for a long time. It's not like all of a sudden, come December, it's like a light switch. It just disappears. I think it's something we're going to have to deal with over time for a long period of time.
I think
it's
we're going to have to
always
deal
gonna-
with this for a couple of years.
I think we're going to have it around all the time. Not obviously as severe case as it was. Obviously, hopefully there will be a vaccine.
Hey,
There'll be other-
California just had the plague.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Seriously, there's a guy that just had the plague.
When's the locust and coming? And
I don't know.
the apocalypse. But like I said, I feel that this is going to be something that's going to be considered like a flu. and you're going to get it every season. Like I've gone a couple years without having the flu, but I've had it, and when I get it really bad.
Well, I think eventually you're right. I mean, once we have a vaccine for it, it'll be something that we'll be able to maintain and keep at bay at some point. But until then, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is we don't know how it affects everybody. And for the most part, the younger people, it doesn't affect the way it affects other people. Most people don't.
At first, they said it didn't even affect the younger kids at all. And then like a month later, they're going, oh my God, the very young and the very old are really in deep trouble. Like, you just told us that the young kids don't. And it's funny because, and I forgot the exact age. You might be able to tell me this. You're a mom. Babies up to a certain age, their immune system is so much stronger than ours for
usually
a while.
to about 2 months.
Is it
they
only
carry,
2 months?
Yes, they carry the immunity that we hand off to them.
And that's sometimes why they keep the umbilical cord too, because there's the antibodies in there too.
They keep the fluid in the umbilical cord and store it away because there's some sort of antibodies in there that can
their
help.
immune system for the first 2 months. I thought it was almost up to age 1, but their immune system is like concrete, like amazing
for
compared
the most
to what
part.
else. Yeah.
I mean, you still try to keep them away from people.
Right.
There's still a couple viruses that can really put them in the hospital and be life-threatening, but for the most part, they're.
So I thought it was almost up to a year. I thought I was shocked that it was only for 2 months. Obviously, it's just because of them being out of the womb and whatnot. I would assume. So I was thinking that the younger generation, the younger kids, would be, if they got it, they would be better to deal with it than even our age, or obviously older. The very old cannot deal with this, especially with the respiratory issues that it brings. But then, like I said, 2 months later, they come around saying, oh, no, young kids and old adults are very susceptible to this. And it's like, who do you believe at this point?
You don't, because it changes on a drop of a dime. It's awful. And that Kawasaki syndrome was the one that they considered it. And you heard about it. It was a scary thing. Everybody was talking about it. And then we didn't hear another thing about it, which is a little unnerving because I think they realized that they panicked so many people that they just stopped talking about it because they wanted to pretend like it didn't exist.
Look at the bird flu a few years ago. That was a huge thing. But then all of a sudden it disappeared. It was huge for a couple months. And all of a sudden, of course, it came from China or whatever. And all of a sudden that disappeared too. How does something like that just disappear?
It doesn't. They just don't let you talk about it anymore.
And who knows if it ever, I don't remember if it ever made the States or not, but that was huge. And then obviously with COVID now, like I said, I think it's going to be like the common cold. I think it's going to be around.
Well, just look at Dr. Fauci. In the beginning was like, this is awful. Everybody needs to lock themselves up. Don't come out yet. Just because they basically wanted it to go away. But unfortunately, human nature is you can't make anybody sit still.
No.
So every time he kept repeatedly saying this, it's like everybody kept pushing him down, going, you can't, because it was killing the economy. So they just didn't want him to keep repeating it. So then he just basically pushed him off so nobody heard him talk anymore. And which isn't really helping.
Then you have, the government and the main guy spatting out ridiculous stuff while Fauci's sitting there. You can see the memes of Fauci just kind of laughing behind him going, what are you saying?
Can we inject stuff into people's bodies? Can we just stick them under a UV ray? I'm like, seriously, whether you like him or you don't,
some of the things
he says, you just want to just go, stop, just stop.
And it comes to the point too, like Fauci first said, masks work. You got to have masks. Now he's like, okay. I'm like, thanks for kind of telling us. I mean, what are you going to do? And then that gives the fuel to the fire for people that don't want to wear masks and give problems. And I think that's going to be an issue where some parents will be like, my kid's not going to wear a mask and you can't make my kid. Well, technically, yes, they can.
Yeah, then
don't bring them to school.
Then choose remote learning.
Yeah.
Well, ironically, I was at the doctor's, had a regular appointment yesterday, and this guy walks in. Now, he thinks he's funny as he's saying it. And the first time I heard it, it was kind of funny until every time he ran into somebody, he said the same joke over and over again.
Boy.
So it was getting a little old. But he's like, well, if masks work so well, how come I can still smell a fart through it? Well, he's got a point. In a way, he's got a point. But yeah, why should you be able to smell a fart through it? It's obviously little molecules.
Where are you where you're smelling a fart that close anyway? Stop farting in your own maybe he's farting in his mask. Maybe that's it.
Maybe it's just his breath.
Yeah. Did you brush your teeth today, buddy?
Maybe it's just your breath.
What'd you eat?
Yeah,
I don't want to know. And so he ended up saying that to everybody.
Did you ever see that Glozell lady on on like YouTube.
The who?
Glozell.
Glozell? No.
Yeah. She does her own little videos, and she just makes fun of every little song and does all this like she did the cinnamon challenge, and the whole thing was just beyond hilarious.
Glozell. I'll have to check that out.
She does this song. She's like, "Is that your breath or did you just fart? Is that your breath or did you just fart?"
Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's hilarious.
We'll
The
play
kids
that next time. We'll play that in the intro for next week's
the
episode.
kids literally talked about that for 6 months.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I'm so out of touch.
Of course, they were a lot younger and they thought it was
yeah.
funny as hell.
Glozell. I'll have to check that. Has Hud seen Glozell yet?
No, he's a little young.
He's a little young.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be farting around the house.
No, she's pretty funny. It was a whole song though that she made up and sang, and it was really funny and very catchy. Like you'll catch yourself just singing it.
Great. When I'm in the car, I'll be singing it. Great. Lovely.
Is it your breath or did you just fart?
Oh my God. Super fan.
Woohoo!
Not the SF, this SNL skit.
Oh yeah.
So again, another tangent that we go on. See, this is what the show is fun
That's what it's
for, because
supposed
we
to
just
be
go
about.
back and forth. This is what we would do if the mics weren't here. We would
I
just
know.
go off. I think we'd probably go off on more tangents.
Oh
if
my
the mic
God,
was not here.
probably. You know, it's supposed to have something a little bit serious, and then it comes down to life is not meant to be 100% serious. Seriously.
Now,
Seriously.
Seriously. So I know, like in regular school, I'm not sure how it works for the preschool. You can opt in to do one of the 5. Let's say the Glens Falls School District, one of the 5. Then you can turn around and opt out. They give you like a 30-day window that you have to apply. Like if you're just doing a couple days a week and you're like, I want to go full time, they can opt in. Now preschool, it's pretty much just come and go, right? For him, I mean, if you don't want to bring him 5 days, you don't have to bring him at all, right? It's because it's basically.
I mean,
paid.
honestly, they're not keen on the idea of what I proposed as far as that, because they really don't want everybody doing that.
Right.
Otherwise, they'll have one day where there'll only be one kid there. But
hey, they're still getting paid. No, but yes, I know what you're saying.
I mean, and what she was like, well, listen, I still have to charge a full price, which I get completely. I mean, like you said, they need to know who they're going to have there. They need to know attendance.
That would be crazy.
I know, that would be all over the map. They need to know the attendance, but just like regular school, which I think the big kids are going to, I think they have to do whatever they pick. They have to stick with it for 12 weeks, and then they can change afterwards. So, I mean, I
don't think you could even stay with that, though. That's
no, you're not
going
to be able to.
I mean, 12 weeks, some parents will be like, no, hell no. And, of course, I would assume there would be a break in that, too, because if there happened to be a spike within that 12 weeks, you're not going to tell me that you have to stay? No, I don't think that's going to happen.
I think they want to try to enforce some
they gotta have
some boundaries,
rule,
but it's really not. It's not going to work. This is going to be a shit show.
Do you think? And if you guys have comments, leave them in the comments in the show notes and on our Facebook post too. To let us know what you think, as a mom, dad, or just a person in general, how you feel about the schools. Now, do you think they should not open this year?
I think they should not open this year.
Should not
and this
open
is
at all?
somebody who's sending her child back to school. But like I said, based on how I feel about it at the time, if I feel that I think numbers are getting way too high,
right.
But then again, they're going to take temperatures. Not like they're not relying like the big kid school of having a parent send in a note saying they took their temperature. They're actually taking their temperature at the door. So,
well, wait a minute. You're saying that a parent can send a note in with the older children?
And the big kid school, my big kid school, where our other children are going, or my stepchildren are going.
Get a note?
A note has got to be signed daily by the parents, which I think is a crock of bull.
That's bullshit.
Because how many parents? Yeah, how many parents are actually going to do it? One, how many are actually going to have thermometers? Do you realize how hard it was to find a thermometer at the beginning of COVID?
Do you think how many parents don't know how to take a temperature?
Well, that too. But I couldn't find a thermometer in the beginning of COVID. I had to wait 3 months through Amazon, and I have Prime. Mind you, which
Prime
meant
didn't mean
nothing.
Jack shit for a longest time. I waited
get
3 weeks for a package. 4 weeks. I'm like, are you kidding me?
You don't need it by the time you get it. But yeah, they're supposed to be taking their temperature daily and sending it out. No, so at least Hudson School will be taking temperature like the second they step out of the car.
We just talked on our sports edition on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, that there's another new test, and it's called direct saliva. So instead of sending anything in your nose, now it's a swab, and it's very quick. And it's being tested right now. The FDA is rushing this very in a very serious fashion. They're testing the staff and some of the team players of the NBA using this direct saliva. My thing was, when we were talking about this, was, we got a lot of tests out there. Excuse my language. What the fuck is the vaccine? There's a lot of tests coming out there,
a lot of the tests are negative and wrong,
well,
too.
this one they were saying is going to be more, a little bit more, what do I want to say?
Less faulty?
Yeah, it's going to be more
accurate?
credible, more accurate than some of the other ones, because there's a lot of
false positives.
False positives.
Well, I heard this rumor that this guy was pretty sure he had COVID, had all the symptoms, sat in line in Florida for 3 hours, was still in line, had already gotten the paperwork from his doctor, so he was waiting, and he realized he probably had another hour to wait, took off. Never took the test. Okay. 2 days later, gets a phone call to the house saying, by the way, your COVID test came back positive. He's like, I never took it.
Wow.
So how could they do that? So talk about false positives and
how about scary as shit? What?
Yeah. I mean, I never took the test. So, I mean, there's problems right there. I mean,
but still with the vaccine, I mean, I know they're working on it. Supposedly they're working on it. Bill Gates has got his Microsoft group working on it. I'm like,
why are there not cameras in here right now? See that reaction I just had.
He's got money. I mean, you think money, with the amount of money Bill Gates is, if he was a country, he would be the 5th richest country in the world. You would think with that kind of money and getting the experts that we'd have a vaccine.
Well, who was the one that already patented the COVID?
Oh, I don't know.
See there.
Somebody patent COVID?
Somebody patent
You
COVID.
mean the name?
No.
The disease?
The disease.
How do you, what?
So supposedly, is it Bill Gates? I can't remember
why
who
would
it
he
is.
patent COVID and then turn around and have a vaccine for
they
it?
had already had this, and they had
How do you patent a disease?
They had already patent. I'm putting it out there right now. Look into it when we get off here. Somehow it's already been patented, and it's ironic that somebody, and I want to say it's Bill Gates that did it. And now I've got this on the air, and I'll probably be taken out by some arson of people when I leave here. But it was all over the web. So,
if it's on the internet, it's true.
I know everything on the internet's true. I need to find where it says I'm worth $1 million.
That's exactly right. I just was concerned at the time frame. I mean, we're getting more tests, and yes, they're getting better at it, but we don't have even, supposedly there's something in Russia right now, ironically, that is a vaccine that they're testing.
Yeah, but I heard they weren't testing it. They were just putting it in people.
Yeah, well, that's testing.
Well, I don't think it was willingness.
Well, it's still testing whether you're willing
but
or
it
not.
It is Russia.
Well, you know what? You don't like it too bad. We're testing you. Do you think rats ask to be poked and prodded when they get tested? No. They didn't sign up and wait in a line to try that. But we have nothing. In the States, there's nothing. So it's, and I hate talking about and thinking conspiracy theories and everything else, but sometimes actions speak louder than words. And it's just weird how when something political happens, then this happens, and then when something else happens, oh, now there's a new test, and now, oh, okay, now this and that. It's just really weird how the world works. And I try not to get into the conspiracy theories and the political end of stuff, but sometimes it's just kind of like, wow. And I'm like, oh, maybe there's a slim chance this really could be something like that.
Well, I don't. And we've all had 5 or 6 months to have this conversation over and over again. So it's not that I want to think it's a political thing. Do I think that this was a contrived
You mean
thing?
A controlled situation thing?
I think it was something that was definitely made. I don't think that somebody really ate a bat, as I was joking around
a
couple of episodes ago. I really don't think that was the case. I think this is honestly something somebody put out there.
Well, the other thing is, too, it was COVID-19 were the first 18. So it is a SARS-type based virus.
Well, and then I had heard that this was the first round of it, and they're tweaking it to have the second round.
Well, yeah, and it's whether it's fake news or you don't know anymore.
No,
I mean, obviously everybody's so mad at China.
The only thing I can tell you is there is no fucking toilet paper. That is it. Nothing else I can tell you is true, but I can tell you that.
What? There's toilet paper now.
No, there isn't.
I just got some the other day.
Well, did you get a lot of choices?
Yeah.
Where?
Hannaford over on Quaker.
No shit.
I'm not shitting you.
Walmart and Target. No toilet paper.
Were they gearing up
Obviously,
were they gearing up for round
those two places have a lot of assholes that need to be wiped.
Wow. No pun intended. There's a lot of assholes that do go to Walmart, too. This is true. No, I went over there. Yeah. I mean, I don't buy... I'm by myself. I don't need the whole freaking...
Yeah, think about it next time you're locked up for 5 months. You're going to not be you want but more than a square to spare there, buddy. I'm telling you.
There's leaves out in the trees. I'll figure it out something. But no, I mean, obviously, if I start hearing something, I'll stack up.
Wasn't that a Friends reference? You didn't even catch it?
What?
A square to spare?
Don't know.
You never watched Friends?
I did, but I don't really.
So, there you go. You're up there with me not having the damn flu. You're like the only person alive that ever watched Friends.
I have watched Friends, and I'm trying, and I have it right here too. Damn it!
Oh wait, it wasn't Friends. It was, puffy shirt. What is that? Soup Nazi. What show?
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld. Yeah. It was Seinfeld.
I don't remember that reference, but I did watch Seinfeld.
She was in the stall next to the girl and kept asking for toilet paper.
What's her name? Louise Dreyfus.
Yes.
Louise.
Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah. But she wanted some toilet paper, and she said to the girl she knocked on, "Do you have a square to spare?"
I don't remember.
And she's like, "No." She's like, "Really? Just a square? Just a square?"
I'll have to reference
And she's going, "No, I'm not giving you a square." They started fighting over a square of toilet paper.
And can you really just use a square?
No.
That's what it's going to say.
No, not unless you want to touch your own hoo-ha and stuff.
Well, that's a different whole thing. That's a whole different story. And you don't usually need toilet paper for that.
No.
There's usually a buzzing.
You better hope you're a clean pincher.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Oh, boy. I can tell we're getting close to the end of the episode. Yes, we are, actually. Wow, I just looked at that. Oh, crap. Getting back to that. So you think that schools should wait until spring just to see how the winter is going to pan out? Is that how we feel?
Geez, I don't know. I had suggested to Hud's preschool. No, I'm calling him Hud. To Hudson's preschool that
Hud.
I possibly would have kept him home till October. So I was I wanted to see how the first couple months panned out. I don't think they maybe should wait till spring, but I do think winter will be the shit show. Now, the only thing that might save everything is that everybody's supposed to be washing their hands and wearing a mask. And if they do so, that might cut down on the flu, and it might cut down.
Yeah, you tell a 4-year-old to wash his hands.
I know. It's impossible. Yeah. You can't do it.
Tell some 40-year-olds to wash their hands.
Yeah, right? Tell some adults.
And wear masks. Well, that's what I meant. 40-year-olds. They're adults.
Oh, I thought you said 4-year-olds again.
No, 40 years old.
No, there's plenty of people that come out of the bathroom after touching their junk and everything else and don't wash their hands.
Well, the funny thing is...
It's gross, dude.
The funny thing
and then want to shake your hand.
But technically, let's back this up. Now, this is tangent number 5. If you got a penis, now you're touching things all day. You go into the bathroom, you touch your penis, and then you wash your hands. Wouldn't you think it would be more appropriate to wash your hands before you unzip your pants to take a piss?
Depends on how dirty your penis is.
It's not your penis, it's your hands.
I know, but if your penis is already dirty, it doesn't matter if it gets any dirtier. Why would my penis
be dirty if it's in my pants?
There's a lot of people I know that have dirty wees. What I'm saying
is your hands got all the crap on it, and now you're touching your clean
junk,
clean penis. And then you should be washing your hands.
So you say.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know what I mean. But I'm like, you should wash your hands before that happens, and then wash them after. I'm like, really?
But you can't even get them to do it after.
No, I know. I wash my hands, and then there's people that, they'll give you a dirty look. Like there's a couple, I'll forget, I'm in a hurry, whatever, I zip up and out the door. And there's people like, what is wrong with you?
Now, do you stand when you pee?
No, I sit in a urinal. What do you think? Of course
there's a lot of men that actually sit and pee.
What?
Why are you finding that so odd?
I do if I have other things going on, but I stand up.
Do you ever find it? You don't ever find it weird using a urinal? Do guys ever look over the side?
I don't know because I don't look. Somebody might be looking at me. What are we going with this?
I was listening to Howard. So here we go. Howard Stern. And they were talking about this one guy who's a guest on his show all the time, that every time he finds out some famous person's going to the bathroom, he runs in there and tries to use the urinal next to that guy and look over the side.
And he's like,
and then Howard Stern was like, why don't you just do like a lot of guys do and go sit when you pee?
I don't. And for one, in a public restroom, I'm not sticking my ass on a toilet seat.
How many people actually take a Duke in the bathroom?
I can tell you how many times I've walked in and seen and smelt people doing it. Yeah, pretty much. A lot.
But you think that's something people only do at home?
What? Sit?
Take a shit.
No. No, they don't do it at home. What are you talking about?
You know the ironic thing.
Are you saying that there's less people doing that out, not in their home and not out in public?
Well, I didn't think that they did.
There's a lot of people do it out in public.
Now that I say
Even
that
on
out
the
loud,
sidewalks, we'll see them
after working in the bar,
yeah, come on.
people would throw like whole rolls of toilet paper in the toilet.
Your people.
What do you mean your people?
Your women's room
Why
was you. You
Okay.
women are the worst and dirtiest things I've ever seen in my life, because I don't know how many times I've unclogged the same women's toilet 5 times a night. So you're saying, oh, those people. No, your people.
Okay.
You're the ones with
you
breasts.
Can't lump me. Well, I've seen guys with breasts too.
Well, yeah,
but you can't lump me in with you people.
Well, you said those people.
Just because I have a vagina.
No, well, the vaginas are the ones that are the major problems here.
Okay, I can't deny the fact that women are pigs in a
God,
public
they're
restroom.
Horrible.
Nasty. Sometimes
So
men's
can you
rooms
tell
are
me
much
what
better.
is the reason of shoving a whole roll of toilet paper
I was
in the toilet?
going to ask you the same thing.
I am not one of you.
In the guy's room, I've gone to the guy, like I've had somebody walk out and go, listen, you might want to go in the men's room. The bathroom's disgusting. So I go in there and because you don't use normal rolls of toilet paper in a public restroom when you work in a restaurant. They have those huge rolls of toilet paper, the industrial rolls, the big ones. So I go in there and it's in the toilet with crap all over it. So now you got to dig the freaking thing out.
Maybe he was embarrassed that he clogged the toilet with his crap, so he just threw the roll of toilet paper in and said, I don't know what happened.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. What happens to people when you give them a little bit of alcohol and then they go out and then they lose their bowel control when they're in a restaurant? Out. I just don't get it. I thought you only did that stuff at home.
Obviously, you know otherwise. I mean, come on. And why are women the one that do it the most? I've never had a whole... I gotta be honest. I don't think I've ever seen a whole roll of toilet paper in the men's room.
No, I have.
Where I worked, I don't think I've ever seen that.
I've even seen scavenger hunts where, like I watched a girl carry a whole toilet paper dispenser out the front door.
Nice, nice. That's some scavenger hunt. And those things are screwed in. That's no easy feat. Was she a large Marge? She just rip it off the wall.
Hey, how about the top of a toilet seat? The whole back that covers the tank.
Yeah.
Scavenger hunt gone.
Really?
Yeah, DJ's one day.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. It's DJs. Love Debbie, but still, that's DJs.
We're like, where did that go?
Wow. But yeah, no, the toilet paper, that's still a mystery to me. If you're a woman out there, and if, you know what, just call yourself out. I want to know why you would put a whole roll of toilet paper in the toilet.
I don't get it.
And then flush it. Do you think it's funny that it overflows?
Oh, and it backs up?
And I got to send some 16-year-old bar back to go into the ladies' room to clean it up. It's not fun.
Or some girl passes out and sleeps in the puddle. I've seen that too.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, that's gross.
I've seen
See,
that.
people are listening to this thinking we're making this stuff up.
No,
This is the God's honest truth.
Oh, no, I've seen people pass out. I've seen...
People have sex in that? Yep, I've seen that too.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, my God, yeah. I've walked into people having sex in the bathroom. We saw at 7 o'clock at night. You remember how Neptune's was set up with the main bar? And then they had that little not the crow's nest up on the deck, but that little walk up there, and there was a pool table up there.
Yeah.
7 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, when you're at the lower bar, you can look up because there's a wall that's plexiglass, so you can see that the people are up there. And all we see is this guy going like this and legs over his, just going to town on 7 o'clock at night and like
a pool table
on a Thursday. I'm like, man, and we were thinking he's taking a shot, and I'm like, wow, he's really going. Now he's moving back and forth, and all of a sudden we see legs go up on his shoulder. We're like, well, that's some 8-ball shot right there.
I was just saying he sunk the 8-ball, didn't he?
In a corner pocket, and then then I'm the one. Then my boss is like, you go tell him to stop. I'm like, I'm not going up there to tell him to stop. Yeah, you are. I'm like, no, I'm not. He walked up there and they didn't stop.
No, I know.
He's like, excuse me. They're like, yeah. Literally, the guy's like, yeah. Oh, really? Is this your bucket list? Is this your fetish thing? I'm like, holy crap. But yeah,
There were 2 girls and a guy crawling all over each other on the floor at a nightclub. And they made me go out there and tell them they had to stop. Those girls wanted to come after me and kick my ass because I told them they had to stop.
I'm just having fun with this.
Who is saying that? That is some cheesy shit. It's not even a picture. All there is
No, it's just music. You can hear it.
barely.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's amazing what people actually do and just
It's a little bit of alcohol. I've never done that.
not be accountable for
I've
anything.
never done that. As much
What?
as it,
Have sex out in public or have
well,
to stop
we already
somebody?
know that I had sex out in public. But
Well,
I
we
would
already
never,
covered that with all of
but
us.
I wouldn't have ever. I would never do it in the bathroom. One, I don't care how turned you are, or the girl you're with is really good looking. The smell in the bathroom is like, yeah,
Oh,
I'm
it's
out.
rank.
I'm like, I'm not, no. And I'm not pulling my pants down. No way. I don't know what's been on the floor.
No.
I'm like, I'm not doing anything.
I just don't get what comes over anybody that they think it's okay to have sex in the bathroom. Those bathrooms are foul.
They're carefree. They're spontaneous. They're young, Tracy. They're
No,
carefree.
a lot of them were. A lot of them were not
maybe,
young.
Maybe they were cheating on their husbands or wives, and that's the only thing they could get was in the bathroom.
Well, there used to be a swingers night in Lake George. Do you remember that?
Yeah, there was a swingers bar in Lake George.
I didn't know there was a bar.
You remember where Barleycorns used to be?
Yeah.
That was a swingers club for a while.
See, I didn't know that. But
It was the unsaid thing.
well, one of the nightclubs I worked at, there would be one dedicated night that they would that they would all come in, and all of a sudden, you see some girl come in with 2 guys, and then she's making out with one and turns around and make out with the other one, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
It's a key party.
Holy shit. And then just more and more of them just keep coming in, and they all meet there and it was always meet at the bar, and you're like, I used to dread working those nights because you're having to tell them to stop because it creates a problem throughout the rest of the bar.
Big time.
Huge.
Big time. I have 2 friends that are swingers, and I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I'm too possessive to be.
I like my penis. I don't want to know where it's going everywhere else. I just don't. And when I was younger and was at Neptune's, they're like, hey, you should come to a party. And they didn't say anything, but I knew. I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for the invite. No, I'm good. I'm going home. I'll see you later.
Was it a key party, or are they just hoping to get you drunk?
No, it was a key party.
Yeah, no.
And if anybody doesn't know what a key party is, Google it.
Yeah, right?
It's pretty much you go to a party. It's a swingers club.
You
or
put your
swingers
keys
party
in a
a house,
bowl.
and you put your keys in a bowl, and then it sucks for some people because when you randomly pick up that key, that's not, you got large margin, you're taking her home. Definitely not. Nope.
And you don't always want the expensive keys
What
because
if
those
you
are the ones
What
with
if I picked up a guy's key
with the little W's.
Oh my God.
The expensive keys have the little W's.
Yeah, right. Wow, I get to drive this nice Porsche. Yep. Yeah, I'm not touching that.
No. Those no.
Who's got the Prius? Who's got the Prius?
Oh no, that's the one that's putting deodorant on with a special stone.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. So we were talking about schools. The school of life. Stay away from swinger bars and key parties, everybody.
It's always a tangent. That's what makes it fun. Listening by the end of this,
Didn't Dan tell us we had to stay on point?
No, he didn't. The ironic thing is we always start out with a subject, and it's never the same subject at the end, which I find the best part of this whole thing for me every week because I never know how it's going to end up.
Well, I don't even know what the topic is until 5 minutes before the show, and I'm like, I can't even prep doing that.
Because you told me not to tell you.
I did tell you not to tell me because most of the time it wouldn't really pertain to me anyway. I mean, it has the first. All right, everybody, it has for the first 10 episodes.
Especially episode number 8. Yeah, episode 8.
Which is still going more. No,
is it really?
And
it's because that's when we were the most raw.
But nobody knows that until they listen, though. So, because you said that to me before, you're like, what are our numbers? And I told you number 8 was going up there. Well, it's because we were raw, but nobody knows we were raw until they push play.
Well, yeah, because I don't think the catch line you put on that one was to
I
imply
forgot
we were
I forgot what I put.
being raw.
I forgot. I tried to always put something funny there. I forgot which one that was for number 8. Number 1, episode number 1 just went up a little bit again today. So, yeah, number 1 and number 8. And there was another one that was pretty good. The one with Megan.
Oh, yeah.
Was that number 8? That wasn't number 8.
I think that was number 9.
9 or 10, yeah.
Yeah, 9 or 10.
So, but yeah, no, we definitely don't stay on the topic when the topic that we start with. But everybody, if you have comments too about the school situation, please, we want to hear from everybody, your side. And this is the other thing too. I'm sure many of you out there are afraid or just don't want to make a comment because you see so many people putting out comments and then other people just bashing the shit out of them, making rude comments. This is judgment free here. I mean, the network is, whatever I may express, the network does not necessarily have to feel, same or accept my opinions. It's like that. But we don't judge anybody. Like my podcasters might not, the other podcasters on this network might not feel the same way I do. That's okay. I have no problem with that, and neither do they. And we're very judgment free here.
Well, and even this subject alone, I could go either way on it. So I empathize with either side of this. Right. And
if schools don't open, I guess if schools don't open, at least they give the option to do remote schooling. Like the Glensfeld School District is giving Chromebooks. And if that's what you do, that's what you do. Now, that makes it very difficult then. The other thing is, why do I always do this right before when I'm on a close? Parents at work. I mean, that's got to be a hard toll on them now. Right now, younger kids, parents have to work. What's going on with that? There was no daycare with COVID.
Well, I know
daycare is coming back up.
No, but I know of one parent that was thinking they were all set and all ready to go back to school, and now knowing that Boston Spas, I think it's Boston Spas, the one that's opening up later. I think I said it earlier. I was hoping I had the right school. Is opening up later. That just threw them in a tailspin because they don't know now what they're going to do as far as daycare. Right,
and that's got to be for a lot of parents. And a lot of parents are complaining, well, what am I supposed to do with my kids? And either blaming the state or the school district. I'm like, so you can kind of see it both ways. I'm like, there's no, if you have to work and you have a little one, there should be some other procedures or policies to help them out with daycare or something where, all right, well, okay, if school's not going to open, you got to put them somewhere. You can't leave a 5-year-old at home by himself.
No, and
him or her.
And let's be honest, and I know the governor has even said it in a couple of his. What are those things he does?
His press
meetings, press conference. All I could think of is podcast in my head.
Oh, God forbid.
Right. But is that honestly, school is daycare. I mean, that's where you're putting your kids, knowing where they are from the second they go in to the second they leave. I mean, at the time, your only worry was hopefully nobody was going to get in school and shoot everybody up.
Right.
Now that we didn't have that worry when I was growing up.
Neither did I.
Now that's the worry you have to have. But now you got to worry about just something they can't even see.
What has the state of the world come to? Guns, COVID. I mean, crap. I mean, that's a whole nother.
Guns, COVID, and toilet paper in a toilet bowl and shitting on it.
And a C-ring.
Yeah, and a C-ring.
Jesus. Yeah. That's a whole different.
I know. We always run off on another tangent.
That's a whole different podcast. But please, like I was saying before, please leave your comments. Like I said, this is judgment free. We're not going to judge. We'd love to hear your side of the story. Even if you're not a mom or a dad, but you can weigh in. I'm not a mom or a dad. I mean, I weigh in and have my beliefs and whatnot. I mean, obviously it's.
Well, you're supposed to be here to be the other side, the not having to be not having a parent,
right.
And a perspective of not being a parent, and because that covers the whole demographic as far as I'm concerned. You either are or you're not. So I think we got it all covered.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, you never looked at it that way, did you? You just looked at it. You didn't have any boobs.
Boobs. Well, yeah.
Boobs.
Well, there's nothing wrong with boobs.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow. Bow, bow.
Well, I've been told that I can't use I'm not a dad thing either. So I'm I'm the gray area. Well, I was in the gray area. I'm not now. But like I was saying, please leave your comments. Love to hear what you guys have to say. I mean, and again, if you don't feel upset if you're disagreeing with us, that's not, that's fine with us. So I respect everybody's opinion.
Yeah, me too.
And we'd love to hear your feedback on it. We try to I think we're on a pattern of going too crazy episodes and then a serious episode, then 2 weird episodes and then a serious episode. I'll have to look back at the numbers and see which ones. But I think we're on we're on 2 non-serious, 1 serious, 2 non-serious, 1 serious, and this was the serious
Well, life's
one.
too stressful. Who wants
Right.
it to be serious
Right.
all the time? Well, Dan should be here with us next week, and
That won't be serious.
well, some of it will. We'll talk a little bit about infertility and his way of looking at it.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then that will, I'm sure, go off in a lovely tangent.
Oh, I'm sure. And we were not allowed to use the word load.
Oh, yeah,
Hold on. This is sorry. I know the SF is going to be like, you say this every week. You try to close the show and then you keep going. and no, she doesn't sound like that. So there was, I listened to Stephen Preston. It's a podcast. It's a radio show in Philadelphia. I listen to them every morning. Oh, I'm going to hate saying this. So they did a test for the word ist. I'm not saying the word moist.
Moist?
And
Discharge?
That doesn't bother me. But it was moist. And that
Period. I hate that too. Period.
was comma.
No. Do you have your period?
No.
Do you have your period? Is your friend here? It's fucking stupid. I can't stand
I don't
it.
I don't like my friends here. I'm like,
My friend is here.
And I always fall for what friend? Where? Not that her. And why is it your friend? Because friends.
not a friend. I fucking
usually
hate it.
Friends don't do that to friends. Why is
No.
that a friend? If my enemy's here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who says
My
that?
arch nemesis.
I'm like, if your friend does that to you, you got problems.
My
But-
bloodletting fucking vampire.
Oh my God. So they did a test that moist is one of the most unpopular words, or one of the words that is most annoying to people in the United States.
Moist?
Yeah. And then they discharge was second.
Pus? Was that another one?
Pus was 3.
Pus, I bet.
Pus was second or third.
Pus
And I'm-
sucks.
And it's one. It's my friend. As I'm listening, I had to turn it off because I'm
Because
like,
you were laughing?
no, because I'm like, even me saying it now, it just freaks me out. And the TWAT, don't say it. Oh, I hate that word. I don't.
Twat.
I hate it. I hate
Twat,
it.
you say, Herb?
Oh, I hate it. I can turn your microphone off. You know that, right? I hate that word. I hate it. I mean,
The SF said I was funny. Let's see if she thinks I'm funny
yeah,
after
I'm
this.
sure she will. Because anything that makes me cringe, I'm sure she'll think that is funny.
Hey,
But
she said something about the DW. Was there something to do underneath your shirt?
huh?
She said it was something to do with underneath your shirt.
Who told you that?
Why are you looking scared?
No, when did she say that? I didn't see it in the comments.
It was in the comments.
I didn't see anything about it. Yeah, it's right there.
The DW is under your shirt?
No, that's the symbol in Chinese for what it means. Underneath my shirt, under my shirt. I was probably wearing the hoodie, and that was probably right there. Or it's my tattoo on my back.
She said it, yeah. She goes, it's
It's
the two
the
things
same
under
thing.
his shirt.
Yeah, the symbol. This symbol here is the same one on my back.
Okay, well, that's not helping me out any.
She's
I
not
can't
gonna
read
t-
that.
She's not going to tell you.
Can't read Japanese
It probably says.
or Chinese or...
It probably says I like guys. I don't know. No, it doesn't. I did a lot of research on this, but no, I didn't know I didn't see that in the comments.
She did.
Yeah, she's not going to tell you though. She'll
Well,
never
you think
tell you.
so? You
She
think
said
so?
I already told you, but I never told you.
No, but she's saying I have to go back and listen to a certain episode and...
Yeah, it's on Life's Great Questions, but I don't remember what episode it was. I did say it.
Episode 8 or 6?
She knows better than me. She called Seth out the other day because we were talking about Lost Boys. He goes, "That was never said." Right in the comments. Yes, it was mentioned. See, she knows. She's good about that stuff. But anyway, can we close the show?
So those are the top 3 words.
Yes. those are
Moist, pus,
yeah, and
discharge. That was it?
Yeah.
And
Well,
period wasn't one?
no,
I hate that word.
no, they didn't say that.
Hate it.
I'm sure the TWAT word was on there. Don't say it. Was probably don't you say it.
My new one I hate a lot because my husband says it to me all the time. He's like, "Don't be so obtuse.
Oh, come on. Oh, obtuse? Obtuse?
Don't be so obtuse." I'm like, "Shut up."
I'm more of a triangle or a square kind of person. Obtuse. That's funny. Well, we won't use the word load for Dan, so.
I will just do it.
I know
just
you will.
because
I
it'll
know
be
you
funny.
will. I'm sure the TWAT was probably on that list, but I don't think they could say it. They can't say it on the radio. So,
Probably not.
CUNT, that wasn't on the list, but again, they can't say that on the radio.
See you next Tuesday.
Yeah, the see you next Tuesday. I've only used that word maybe a handful of times.
I have to be really mad to say that word.
And I've never said it to anybody's face.
Really?
No. That's kind of like.
That is like, bitch
Really?
doesn't bug me at all. I'm like okay, I can live with that.
I don't think I've ever been upset enough to say that. And two, I don't care really how upset you make me. I would never say that to a woman, right to her face. I wouldn't say that. Have I called my friends that? That's probably a couple of the handful of times. My guy friends, I'm probably the handful of times I've said it, but not in a public
forum.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
No, I have definitely said it. I'm really mad.
I think on one of our episodes of, one of my episodes on 60 Seconds With. Have you ever listened to any of those? Those are funny.
Mm-mm.
What the hell, Tracy? You're supposed to be.
I don't even know when they're on.
They're out every Monday.
I don't know what I'm doing.
They're not
Mondays.
live, but they're all pre-recorded.
Oh.
I pre-recorded months ago because I was doing a lot of Comic-Cons and whatnot, so I was getting guests.
Gotcha.
And literally, it's just 60 seconds. And one of the guys, and I said right off the bat, I go, "What is your favorite curse word?" And he said, "See you next Tuesday." And I'm like, "What?" That was my very first question. And I'm like, I'm like, you just threw me right off.
Mine would just be fuck.
And that's right now. That and motherfucker are the two top ones right now on the episode. So I ask a serious, as I joke, serious questions in 60 seconds. So you have 60 seconds to answer all these questions that I ask, and that's one of them. What's your favorite curse word? Again, is hot dog a sandwich? That was done months ago before it became a huge debate lately.
Right.
So, but check that out every Monday, everybody, on Earplug Podcast. They're always up there on your favorite podcast app. Again, this will be the 6th time I've tried the.
Well, and wait, we got to say why fuck is one of my favorite words because now it's on the front of my mask that we just ordered and made. Remember?
I was gonna go right into that at the end of the closing. Yes. We did masks for The Mom Struggle Is Real. Every great
the
mom
SF, you get one. I'm sending you one.
The SF said she doesn't say so I sent her the image.
Yeah.
I'm calling you out, SF. I sent her the image. She goes, "Well, I must not be a great mom."
She never said it?
I go, "I know you've said it." She goes, "Well, when it applies," I go, "Then you say it."
Then you say it.
And then she goes, "Like right now." F you out the door. And she was gone. Not out the door, but then she stopped messaging me. But yes. So if you go over to tpublic.com, type in Earplug Podcast, you should be able to find all the apparel that's up there. We're going to be putting some new apparel up there. And I was actually asked to do an earplug mask. So I'm going to put up an earplug mask.
Who asked you to do it?
I wanted our old podcaster, James Hood. He said, we should have an earplug podcast
Yeah, you
mask,
should.
with the monkey, the other logo. But go there, and Mom Struggle's Real masks are there. They come in black. There's 2 different styles. I think the sale might be
just about
done, but if you get it,
but the T-shirts will have a little bit longer.
No, maybe I'll have to check.
Yeah, because you did those the next day.
Yeah, so the T-shirts are 20% off for the next 20 or 48 hours. The masks are $10. That's really inexpensive. They were $8 usually. In the first,
by the time this comes out, it'll probably be done.
They were $8. They were 20% off for the first 48 hours, but now they're 10, and 10 is a really good price for the masks. I've seen them. I haven't seen them really cheaper than 10. There's $15, $20, $25 a piece for some of the masks that aren't that as good. These are nice fabric masks. They're nice. So go over to tpublic.com, type in Earplug Podcast. We'll put the link in the show notes, too, on the page so that you guys can go there, and we'll share it also on another post when we do this and support the Mom Struggle Is Real. I saw you ordered a hoodie and a T-shirt.
I did. Well, because I think it's funny. I mean, everybody's going to say that we're just being nasty. Or there's going to be some people who'll be like, "Oh, that's just nasty. I can't believe they're saying that." No mother says that. You're bullshit.
Every mother says it. Maybe not in public, but I know somebody.
And it's meant to be funny.
If my mom said F and nobody, fuck you, in a room with nobody there, does it really? Can anybody hear it? It's just like,
does a tree fall in the forest? Does it make any noise?
Yes,
does a bear shit in the woods?
Yes, I don't know.
Does toilet paper stick to my ass? I don't know.
It's never for me, and I've never seen a bear shit in the woods. I've seen a bear shit in our toilet, though. Well, there's some guys that are pretty big.
Yeah, nasty.
All right, enough about the shitting in the toilets and the sex and wow. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Make sure to like us on Facebook, Earplug Podcast Network, Earplug Podcast Studio, also the Mom Struggle Is Real Facebook page. Give her some love. Also, subscribe to any one of on your favorite podcast app, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. We are now back up again on Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, or any of your other favorite podcast apps. And as always, you can get us direct at earplugpodcast.com as well. And I think that's about it.
And thanks everybody for hanging out with us.
Yes.
And again, listening to
go
our tangent.
When are we going to go live?
Whenever I actually have time to put makeup on.
Oh, Jesus.
That can be arranged.
Yes. Well, it's going to have to be now that we're going in the studio.
I know. I'm glad we finally get to go live.
The next time you hear us, we'll be in back in the OG. Well, it's the OG studio next week. So we'll have some more fun, and then we'll work on doing a live episode. So everybody, thank you so much, and hope you guys have a great weekend.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation. Found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.
The mom struggle is real, but it's worth it.